Good, man. Thanks for doing this interview.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for taking the time out to do it. I just got a
Of course.
apologize. I got just getting over a cold, so if there's something that you can't understand when I ask, just have me repeat it.
Okay, no problem.
First question here: Devour is the type of film that keeps pretty much the audiences guessing throughout the film. What was it about the story that made you want to come aboard as director?
Um, the idea of not really knowing what's going to happen or what's happening, whether it's in the lead character's head or in reality, was something I really liked. It's like if I go into like a horror film knowing what to expect, or knowing it's a slasher, or knowing it's about a ghost needs its revenge or needs its story told or whatever, I'm not nearly as enthusiastic about wanting to see it. So I like the idea of it being a sort of slow burn, mind fuck kind of film where you don't really know what's going on, and we purposely made it. It kind of falls into what drama, horror, psychological thriller. So that's what was exciting about it. Like a lonely, quiet, weird, slow burn film seemed really appealing to me, especially after making a loud rock and roll documentary right before that. It seemed like the exact opposite.
Right. And Marta is just spectacular in the role. How hard was it to find the perfect actress for that part?
It's really hard, man. It's like, I'm sure when you have the right budget and you can watch all your favorite films and cherry pick your favorite actresses to come into your casting call because you're a named director, that's one thing. But when you're a no name in the world of narrative films like me, and you have a very limited budget and you're just, looking through the SAG talent pool in New York City, it's tough, man. And it was really hard. We saw a lot of talent, and Mark, the screenwriter, and I were worried for a while that if we couldn't find the right person, we just weren't going to shoot the film. And luckily, Mark saw an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit that Martha was on, and said, "This chick's awesome, and let's bring her in." And luckily, our casting director found her and brought her in, and it was sort of this really big sigh of relief when we met her, and we're like, "Wow, she can act, and she's excited about it, and seems like she's willing to bust her ass to make a good film." And without her, I guarantee you wouldn't be interviewing me right now, because Marta makes that film what it is.
Yeah, she really does. She did a great job. And your directing career spans mostly of documentaries. Why did you change things up and want to do fiction, or is that something that you've been wanting to do?
Yeah, I never really wanted to make documentaries, man. I always wanted to be a Hollywood filmmaker ever since I was a kid. I got my Oscar speech ready. And I just sort of, early in my career, stumbled into documentary stuff, which I really had no idea that it was going to be so fun or so rewarding until I did it, and I fell in love with it. And I feel like most good documentaries are much longer lasting films than most narrative features ever will be. And but I've always wanted to make, just like telling a real story about a real person whose story deserves to be told seems way more important than running through the fields with a knife stabbing somebody for entertainment. So I fell in love with docs, but I've always wanted to do narratives, and it's just a much harder thing to make as a narrative film. To get one that's, to find the right script, to find enough money to do it right, is really tricky. So it took a long time to find the right project and actually get it made. And luckily, my screenwriter friend Mark Landau had a script that it was in his head, and we found the right location, and he had enough cash, and we got it made. So it just took a long time to get one made.
And like you said earlier, Devoured is a very dark psychological thriller, borderline horror film. Did you enjoy working within the genre, and would you like to continue in that genre?
Yeah, for sure, man. A film producer friend of mine was, I'm asking a successful filmmaker for advice, and he's like, just keep working on thriller type projects until you get noticed, because it's much harder to direct tension and really build tension than it is to do anything else. It's like comedy is much harder to direct properly than most people think it is, and it's the same thing with thrillers and tension and building that sort of, building that vibe where you can then scare the crap out of your audience. So it was a lot of fun doing that in Devoured. It was a lot of fun. I know it's a slow, very slow burn film that might not be for everybody, but having the ability to build tension slowly over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then scare the shit out of your audience is addictive, especially when you see the results pay off in a movie theater and the entire theater like shrieks out loud finally when you finally scare them. It's awesome. So I can't wait to do that again for sure. I'm looking forward to the next one with a bigger budget when we can have more fun, discovering new ways to scare people.
Well, yeah, Devoured is, when I was watching it, it was one of those things where it was a slow burn, but I didn't want to stop watching it because I knew some shit was going to go down, and it certainly does. And
well, I'm glad it worked on you. That's good.
And one of the other main characters...
It's not for everybody. Sorry, go ahead, man.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm glad that worked on you. It's scary though to put a film out there that is clearly going against the grain of like modern horror lovers. I feel like most people that watch any movie today are like they're looking for that, the quick fix every couple of minutes. Otherwise, they get bored. They're back on their phones checking their Facebooks and stuff. So it's like it's a risk. It was definitely a risk for us to make a slow-moving film like this for sure. I just hope it gets appreciated as much as the movie about a topless girl covered in blood running around stabbing people does. Hopefully we get recognized.
Right. Now, one of the other big characters in the film, which is actually not an actor at all, but was that crazy-looking restaurant. How hard was it to find that location?
Well, believe it or not, we actually wrote the film based on the location. We got to a point where Mark had written a few scripts that we were trying to get made, and it's always hard to have a limited budget and find perfect locations. So my good friend of mine, Kareem Raoul, owns this restaurant, Raoul's in Soho, which is obviously the perfect location for a movie because it's such a beautiful old French bistro that's just been sitting there unchanged for 40 years. And it was just and then if you go into the basement, it's just terrifying. That's just only because the building is, so old. And so we asked him if we could shoot a movie in there. He said, yeah. I told him it would take about 10 nights to shoot, and I'd give him a producer credit, and he's like, okay, cool. And then we ended up shooting in there for 28 nights, and by the end of that, he wanted to kill me. But the film would not be nearly as good as it is without Marta in the lead or that location as your sort of secondary character. It's such a great-looking place on camera and super creepy. So we were really lucky to have that.
And with the release of Devoured coming out on VOD September 2nd, have you thought about or do you have any other projects coming up?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like if I don't have other projects brewing, I'll sort of shrivel up and die quickly as a filmmaker. So I always have them overlapping. I have a documentary on Johnny Winter, the blues guitarist, that's coming out just in a couple of months. So that'll be out probably October, November, December, somewhere in there. And then I have a screenplay that I just finished that we're working on financing. And Mark has a huge stack of screenplays that we're also trying to get made. So we're just waiting for find the right person with a little cash that'll have faith in us. But and some other music doc stuff. It's just like a lot of... But right now I don't have anything new to brag about other than Johnny Winter. That's coming out right after this.
Well, right on, man. That's all I got for you today.
That's great. Thanks for it, man. I appreciate it.
All right, and I love the film, man. Keep it up.
All right, we'll do.
All right, you have a good day.
The word.
Have a good day, man.
You too.